Yo, there's something beautiful about Bearcats basketball. High flying.
Kenyon with a jam.
Shot denying.
Miles rejected.
There's just an energy that comes with the Cats. A rich history built on toughness.
And Mick Cronin looks like he wants a technical.
A bring-your-own-lunch pail mentality. For a long time, UC was the hunted.
I felt that we couldn't lose.
I think it's time the Bearcats do a little hunting of their own.
Once y'all done with them, send them to me, man. You know what I mean? We can put them on the court. Keep that Bearcat thing going.
I am fired up.
Takes it all the way. Oh! It's going to be Little.
I wonder how Steve Logan would be over in Afghanistan or somewhere. I bet he'd be pretty poised. He just does not get rattled.
Van Exel, he'll cut it loose. Watch out. Stevenson cuts it about. Oh! Kilpatrick outruns everybody. Jackson, the exclamation point.
We've been dealt the king of heartbreak over and over again.
Rozier, Smith, and
Everything they worked for was undone on one play.
But I see the light. The Cats are back. Lukosius, open three, got it! Oh, baby! Welcome to the only live Bearcats postgame show on YouTube. This is Chatterbox Bearcats.
What has gotten into our Cincinnati Bearcats? We thought this was supposed to be a very gritty defensive team. We got to a point in the season where the Bearcats were scoring 40. They were scoring 50. They were pulling their hair out trying to get to 70. And now the Bearcats are living in the 80s and the 90s. Final score, Cats 85, Utah 75. Gabe Madsen did his best on a revenge game in Fifth Third Arena. I know he only played like a game in Fifth Third Arena for UC this season. He was there, but he was on fire at a certain point. Unfortunately, his fuel, or I guess his ride, ran out of some fuel down the stretch as he missed a lot of threes to end the game. Final numbers for Gabe Madsen, 8 of 22, but it is the most Cincinnati's given up in a game. In the Wes Miller era, I believe they said, or close to up there, 8 of 22 from three for 28 points, but it was Cincinnati, 14 offensive rebounds. Remember, when we were in Salt Lake City, Utah dominated the glass. Storyline, flipper. Cincinnati gets it done. Gritty basketball, three-point shooting, field goal percentage, 49% on the game, 3-point, 11 of 22. They win all the stats they needed to win. Houdini, welcome in. I'm Chuck Walter. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. You can find us on YouTube and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Opening thoughts on a game where, once again, we're starting to see a team that has a little life in them. You hear the music down below. That is enough. It's been rolling for a long time. Still 5-8 in the Big 12, but a pulse, and one that is beating more than so slightly.
That's all we want, Chuck, is a pulse after what we saw this season, man. And February 11th, we're still alive. We're very alive, especially with the juice that we're playing with. Madsen, I was like, dude, John Brannon's not the coach anymore, Gabe. Like, he was coming out with a vengeance. I mean, he looked ridiculous. I was like, we got to be able to stop one guy. He was the whole offense. Shot 22 threes, I think what you were getting to. It's the most three-point attempts against a UC team ever by a single player. Thank God he started to go cold because he actually had some good looks towards the end. He just missed them. Thank God. And I just finished up watching Josh Reed post-game interview after a W. The tables have turned, man. This is crazy, but it got a little dicey. It got scary for a second because this was one of those letdown. You know, you lose this game, everything we just saw goes to shit. But here we are, man. We're still alive and 5-8 in the Big 12 after how we started. I'll take it.
We're starting with the Junkyard Dog. He gets the post-game interview and he gets the floor on Chatterbox Bearcats post-game show because we're starting to see a little baby Zion, everyone, For those of you on YouTube, this is why you watch on YouTube. Baby Zion, coined by Hudson's father, Tim, who watches a Bearcats game. Once in a blue moon, he saw Josh Reed play, and he's like, you know what? That's Aldi brand Zion Williamson. Final numbers from him in the game today. 4 of 6, 3 of 4 from 3, knocks down both his free throws, had 4 assists, 13 points, back-to-back in double figures for Josh Reed, 13 for Josh. Most importantly, with a couple minutes left, when UC had ran out of gas, Utah had climbed their way back into it. He started off a 10-0 run that the Bearcats would go down the stretch with a little teardrop that hung on the rim and went through. Give me good words on Josh Reed.
Somebody tweeted at me, said we didn't even mention Junkyard Dog, and you already mentioned it once, but he's a Junkyard Dog, man. And now he's our closer. He's Baby Zion. He's Josh Creed. As I mentioned on Twitter myself, he can take us higher. I don't know what happened, but he does all the little things, man. Like, that's what he does. He's not a ball stopper. He can hit open threes. He almost hits the Jumbotron every time. But those 3 threes he had in the first half changed the trajectory of the game completely. And then he was our finisher. Came in there, knocked down 2 big free throws, like you said, the floater, the teardrop. I mean, back-to-back double-digit games from Josh Reed. That's the first time in his UC career, easily. I think they said it's the first time since 2022 that he scored in double digits. Now he's done it 2 times in a row. You can't say enough about Josh Reed, man. That 13 points on the bench, I mean, that's the difference between us winning and losing the game.
Jizzle James, star of the show. Again, 10 of 15, 2 of 5 from 3, knocks down all his free throws, had 6 assists, 2 turnovers. That 3-to-1 assist-turnover ratio, that is the Jizzle James we need, and we need him scoring 25 a night. This team has found an alpha in the most unlikely place that was the most likely place entering the season. Hell, I said the guy was going to be all conference. I said he has the potential to be the next Ja Morant. Like, this guy has so much skill, and he just lost it halfway through the season. Like, again, for the YouTube crowd out there, it's like Calvin Cambridge losing the sneakers. And apparently he duct taped the soles back together. He's running around right now with some confidence. You saw the text message that Edgerrin James threw out there for the public of him saying, son, where's my boy been? I don't recognize this Jizzle out there. Go out there, have fun, start to realize that, hey, I'm the best player on the floor. And he's starting to realize it. He had a reverse layup and one, was sick, put someone in a blender. The dude's at the hospital right now getting the ankles checked. Bench was loving it. Jizzle James, man, star of the show, Chatterbox Bearcats player of the game.
No, Jason Delaney in the chat's saying Jizz Morant. I don't even know if we can say that on YouTube. That might get censored, but hell, man, he turned this thing completely around. He looks like a totally different player than he did 4 weeks ago. And you know, it helps when you can knock down a 3-point shot. 2 of 5, nothing crazy, but just having that, defenders have to get out on you at the 3-point line, opens everything up. That mid-range is getting there. He's driving to the rim, dude. He put Gabe Madsen on ice skates on that one. That might be a top 10 play. He looked awesome, man. And and we mentioned on the other show, he's being quick and decisive with his moves. He's not doing the dribble James crap. He's getting to his spots. If he doesn't have it, he kicks it out. And it's made this offense just open up. When you have a point guard that can do what we thought he was going to do, it opens everything up. And now he's playing like the player we thought he was. And the sky's the limit if Jizzle James could be putting up 20 a night. Truly.
Confidence is everything, man. It goes to show you in life, and we all know this, when you're hot, you're not. When you're not, you're not. Sometimes you lose your way. He had lost his way for a minute, had lost a little bit of belief, and all it took was a few good games in a row for him to kind of have an encore that shows us Jizzle James is 1,000% back. He's a sophomore, went through the sophomore slump, and here comes the sophomoric surge in the same season. Surging into the show, correspondent Chase Younts, who made his debut at Fifth Third Arena after the Ohio State game, the lone game this season, an exhibition that Houdini, myself, went live on the floor. We go live with Chase, gave us fire, former college basketball player at Earlham College. The Quakers.
Yes.
The Quakers. No, I was not questioning that. I was just giving my love to the Quakers and shooting coach Dick Baumgardner that ran the camps out there in Indy back in the day, or the Indy suburbs, wherever Earlham is. Anyways, Chase was spitting fire, had great statistics to add to the show, just great analysis as a former player. And we go back, we chop up the show, and we realize his mic didn't work. The entire time, you couldn't hear anything that he said. 20 minutes on the floor. We had to scrub the tapes off the internet. It was tough, but it's been a while. He's been working at the games. You're going to see this guy on TV for a long time. He's a star, and he's part of our panel today. Chase, your thoughts from the game, man?
Can you guys hear me well, first off?
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Well,
we're good, baby.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, thoughts on the game. I mean, just watching these energized Cats play, this is, I don't know where it was, probably the dodgeball game, wherever you want to look for it. I mean, these guys are playing energized basketball. They're shooting well from the outside. They're attacking the basket. Jizzle James, like like you guys talked about earlier, he found it. He's found his spark once again, and he is truly becoming that attacking guard that is trying to get downhill and score the basketball. He's playing determined. He is playing with fire. It has been fantastic to see. And again, obviously, guys are taking different roles on this team, like Dan Skillings Jr. coming off the bench. Junkyard Josh Reed. This is awesome, man. I mean, this is a different thing that, we haven't really expected. Josh Reed's 8 for 13 shooting in his last 2 games. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable stuff. But just overall, guys are trying to figure out their roles, take their spots on the team. And the Cats have won 3 in a row. Big one coming up Saturday.
It's a huge one coming up Saturday, to say the least. You win that game at Iowa State on Saturday, and all of a sudden we're probably, Bunker Boy's probably going to come out with his bracket here soon. I'd say first 4 out, something along those lines. And most of these brackets, like, we're sneaking back into the bubble picture. We're starting to sweat a little bit. You beat Iowa State come Monday when Bunker Boy releases his new edition, hot off the press. Bearcats are going to be back in the tournament. Houdini and I played bagpipes for this team. Like, I did not think there was a path. And I thought even if we rattled off these 3 in a row, which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's BYU, it's UCF, it's Utah. Before the season, we would have said we'd gone 3-0 in the stretch. But it's the way we look, man. We saw the glimpses at the beginning of the year. We saw the talent returning from last year that kind of had it close to being figured out, and what we added in, another year of seasoning, and Wes has really gotten these guys playing hard and inspired basketball, Hudson. Like, I am starting to believe that this team could go into Iowa State and fight. Maybe not win, but fight.
Oh, no, I already said, yeah, if we beat Iowa State, I'll be right back on by saying we're going to the Final Four. I mean, I'll be at 4 in a row.
I'm kind of back on the West train, man. I was fully out. I said, get this guy out of town. I'll pack his bags to go down to North Carolina. And all it takes, man, is putting together a little winning streak. Bearcats' first 3-game winning streak ever in Big 12 play. And I just look at the results the last 2 weeks, and they look like a team that's getting better. And that's what you want to see from a fourth-year head coach leading a group of, a mix of veterans and young guys.
Well, it's just the fashion in which they're winning, like you mentioned. It's, we're putting up 80 points a game. If you would have told me after what we saw in January that we would put up 80 points 3 games in a row, we shot 50% from 3, 11 of 22 tonight, 49% from the field, 73% from the free throw line, I would have said you're insane. There's no chance in hell. And they've turned it around quick, man. So, like, it's really the fashion in which they're winning these games. If it would have been, 58 to 54, I wouldn't be feeling as good. But this team's got firepower. And when our guys show up, hell, Lukosius and Dan Skillings still aren't doing much on the offensive end, and we're still putting up these numbers by guys like Josh Reed and, the occasional Betsy 3. Day Thomas is pretty consistent. Bandego's got double digits a couple games in a row. Like, it's coming from everywhere. And if they can put it together, Iowa State's can be tough to beat no matter what. But they still have other opportunities outside Iowa State. Even if we were to go in there and lose, there's opportunities in front of us. The 3 games, first time ever, we'll take it, man. We're actually in a decent spot. Bunker Boy's got to start doing the algorithms. He's like, wait a minute. They dominate quad 2. They don't have the quad 1s. Like, we're in his head already. That's all we wanted right now at this point.
We just want to make him work for his money. Remember, there was a show, Hudson and I did a chatter show. He knows what I'm getting at, years ago. And we were just BSing about how much broadcasters made, because there's stupid amounts of money if you're at the top of the industry. like the Van Pelts of the world and the Al Michaels, like they're making $7 million a season or something like that to call sports games. And I just casually floated out. I'm like, yeah, Bunker Boy's wrong a lot to be making $500K a year. And Hudson's like, hold on. You think Joe Lenardi's making $5? I'm like, yeah, he's all over the website. He's all over TV. He's like, no freaking chance. So make him work hard. Make him queue up these algorithms that he has. And let's start getting back on Bunker Boy's mind as the season goes along. Betsy Deep Ones, Chase. You got to love this, man. I mean, there was a stretch there, Arizona, and maybe, I guess it was just that 4-game stretch in general where we couldn't do anything. 0-4 to start the slate where he couldn't do anything. I mean, he was questioning whether, making me question whether he was a sharpshooter. And we know the answer now.
We do. And, I love saying the occasional Tyler Betsy 3. That's just a fun kind of thing to say, and it's just guys stepping up in spots here and there. You get that 3 from Betsy, you get that random 3 or maybe 2 threes from Dan Skillings, and then CMOS, hopefully he comes along here a little bit sooner, but it's been a rougher stretch for him, but I think he'll come around here soon. But just guys are stepping up in spots where they need to, and it's just been more of a collective effort. They've found ways to, drive to the bucket, kick out, 3, drive to the bucket, score, dish off, everything else. It's just been, the nucleus has been working, and it's been fun to watch in that regard. And an interesting thing to look at for the Big 12, there's 7 teams that are separated that are within like a 2-game difference between each other. And with who Cincinnati's playing up next, you got Iowa State. You still have matchups with TCU, West Virginia, Baylor, Kansas State. I mean, there's a lot of shuffling that could go along right now. And Cincinnati, if they're able to win a couple of these games, could end up, and I want to say this and knock on wood, could end up becoming a top 8 seed if they take care of business in most of these other Big 12 games, if they're able to, really try to put this thing together and keep going on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the way that it started off, and quite frankly, the way that the team looked that pronounced just about every UC fan out there. If you're one of the few that held on to hope, I respect you. If you saw a 2-8 Cincinnati team lose to West Virginia and you walked out of that arena saying, I still think this team has it in them, kudos to you, because you're slightly delusional, or apparently you're just an oracle. It's going to happen down the road. But this team started off so sluggish, and I think that's the reason why we lost a lot of this hope, even though the tournament resume didn't really take a hit. I mean, a road loss against Baylor, home losses to Kansas and Arizona, a road loss against Kansas State. You're 0-4, you think you're dead, but in reality, like the committee doesn't care that you lost those games as long as you could start winning some games to neutralize it. How much, Houdini, how much confidence do you think this team lost just based on the schedule alone? Like if we would have started Colorado, Kansas, Arizona State, UCF, like how much better would this team be?
I don't know, because I mean, hell, we started out with Kansas State. We lost that one. Then we went on a losing streak, and then we
had Kansas State. We had that game, and we looked all right against Arizona for stretches. Then the wheels just completely fell off.
Well, no, and then we beat Arizona State and Colorado, and then it was like, hey, maybe our mojo's back, and then we just got the doors blown off us again. So I don't really know if it was that, just the schedule placement. I think it was just confidence with these guys because we didn't look pretty really regardless. We beat Arizona State and Colorado. Colorado had us a little nervous. Hell, they haven't won a Big 12 game yet. So I don't know if it's the schedule. When you're in the Big 12, you're playing big games every night anyway. It's just now they're playing with effort too, though. We saw like the effort kind of go down a little bit. We got out rebounded last game. Last time we played Utah by I think like 19 rebounds, something insane. We out rebounded them tonight, 41-29. Aziz Bandego with 10 boards. I don't know the last time Aziz has had 10 boards. I mean,
double.
Every time I check the box score lately, it's like Aziz. He's 7'9". He's got like 3 rebounds. I'm like, how's that even possible? So he did great tonight, and Lovering, that 7-footer for Utah. I had some inside sources, some stats guys just tell me that he had 14 in the first half, and he finished with 14. So I know we always harp on West not making adjustments because we should have probably been up 15 at half, and we let him get back into it. We made some adjustments on him for sure. He only had finished with 14, didn't score in the second half. So I think it's just a collective thing as far as changing strategy, putting Day Thomas in the starting lineup, that gave us a spark. He went small as well, like we've been talking about, Chuck. He actually had Aziz out and had Dylan at the 5. We struggled rebounding a little bit, but I thought our offense was a little more fluid. But overall, just great effort tonight.
Yeah, spacing's a lot better on offense. Shouts to Van Dago. We give him his flowers. 10 points, 10 boards. Double-double from our guy, Aziz. Defensively, this is a Bearcats team that was ranked in the top 10, 4 or 5 games into the Big 12. They held Kansas to 54 points. Like, we were looking like we found our identity. It was defensively, and now all of a sudden it's a fast-paced team that's running up the floor and scoring very efficiently. What the hell has changed, Chase?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. It's, the big thing for me, like when I looked at our, defensively and stuff, I think that Texas Tech game kind of took everything out of it just because Texas Tech just got hot and they shot really well. And then we kind of got in that slump when it became, guarding the 3 and having, to eliminate second chance points and eliminate the offensive rebounds on the other side. But, I think just being able to score the basketball and, really spark plug this defense to give them some sort of an energy, give them some, I don't want to say incentive, but give them even more motivation is a big thing, So just overall, I mean, this offense flowing has helped this defense overall, which gets the crowd into the game. And then you get a stop and then you just keep mounting things on top of each other. And it's just, it's the domino effect of things falling, but pick things up. And the Bearcats have won 3 in a row.
That's a winning streak. That's what we call a winning streak. Now, Houdini and I are not doing the apology to Wes Miller with the piano until they beat 3 traditional Big 12 teams. So another one today of a team that is not a traditional Big 12 team. They came over from the Pac-12 first season. So when we take down 3, and we got to, do them back-to-back here.
Houston. What if we beat Houston?
We'll count Houston.
Apologize to Wes directly.
Yeah, if we beat Houston, we'll count that. But no apologies quite yet. Still 5-8, still on the bubble. And as Stay Crazy says, Utah, UCF, BYU, don't get ahead of your skis, everyone. And is basically calling me a Minnesota Golden Gopher fan, saying if we're going to send the apology over to Wes and call this team 1,000% back after wins over Utah, UCF, and BYU, then I'm crazy. But come on now, man. It's the way we look. Always looking good. Nick Niehaus, he's out in 20-degree weather right now, fighting the elements to give us an update of the Cincinnati Bearcats. Nick, fifth third atmosphere tonight. It was quiet in stretches, but down the final stanza of the game, it was loud in there, baby.
It was loud. Can you guys hear me?
We got you.
Everyone always asks that. We can hear you.
MVP chance for Josh Reed at the free throw line. Can you believe that? Can you guys believe that? You guys are talking about an apology to Wes Miller. I think we owe an apology to Josh Reed. Am I wrong here?
You might be right. I can believe it, Nick, because I was cheering MVP on my couch. See? Baby Zion, man. He's Baby Zion with range. Baby Zion with a better 3.
Oh, man. I mean, talk about some role players stepping up. Josh Reed absolutely coming out of nowhere. If you'd have told me that Josh Reed was the savior of the season, I don't know what I would have told you. But the last 2 games, that guy has brought some energy, some effort, some fight, and some shot making. The last thing we would have thought he would have brought.
Hudson said it, but he was being facetious, man. He said like 4 shows ago, he's like, I think we give the ball to Josh Reed and let him work.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I just saw a car hit a pole in Clifton. They didn't do anything to these streets. I'm out here fighting the snow. This is mayhem out here. This lady got out of her car, said, back up. We're not making it out of the hill. So wish me luck, fellas, on the way home. But I just wanted to call in, give Josh Reed my apology. I am sincerely sorry for ever doubting you. You are the savior of this season. But take her home, boys.
Hey, you get yourself to Skyline. Get a nice 3-piece coney on the way home.
You're the man, Nick. You're the man.
Nice little party platter on the way home, baby. Be safe. See ya. Let's welcome in John White to the program. He the only time we've seen John on our show was after what he called the worst, not the worst performance, but the worst Bearcats team he's ever seen, or at least favorite. I would imagine after the last few, you've changed your mind a little, John.
Well, Chuck, all I got to say is, Houdini, are we back?
Oh, John, listen. We played
I've been saving that Chuck Walter impression for a win, by the way.
You're muted.
Who is, me?
I may have been playing the March music a little too loud. Houdini, are we back, baby? Come on. Get them up, everyone. Golf claps again at Fifth Third Arena. Standing O at Fifth Third. It's beautiful, man. It's poetry. Favorite part of this game today, John?
Well, I got to tell you, watching Jizzle tonight, you know who he reminded me of? Steve Logan. That looked like some Steve Logan junior year coming into his own. I said at the beginning of the year, largely to myself because I don't got a show, but we needed a guy. We need an alpha, right? We thought it was going to be CMOS. We thought it was potentially Dan. And I think Niehaus has said, is Day-Day the best player? No, it's Jizzle. He has got to be the alpha from here on out. He's got to be the guy that is leading the team and is the threat every night. And it can't be CMOS. I mean, he can't get his own shot. It's got to be Jizzle. So it's great to see him coming into his own, and I think he's the key if he continues to play at this level through the rest of the season. Hopefully we stay on this trajectory. The other thing I wanted to say, I know it took 3.5 years, but it's good to see, I know we've mentioned it, it's good to see Josh Reed get a little confidence in himself. Because if you can remember last year, I mean, as soon as he got the ball, he wouldn't even look anywhere else but the pass. As soon as he got it, was like a hot potato. And now he's driving to the rim. I mean, something has just clicked in him. He's getting a little confidence in himself. And, it's just really good to see. And we need that. We need the guys off the bench to contribute because, we're limited scoring in the interior, in the front court. So we got to get it where we can. So also Bearcats covered. I don't know if you guys saw that.
A team that has not been good.
Sure did.
Houdini, you have any coin on that one tonight?
I sure did. I actually got him at -2.5 when Gabe Madsen hit like 9 threes in a row. We were down 3 at one point. Locked him in at -2.5. I think that's 3 in a row that we've covered. Yeah, 3 in a row. And to John's point, Jizzle James, I just did some math here. Averaging 21 and 4 assists in the last 3 games. You get 20 plus a night from Jizzle James, man. We're gonna be looking pretty good. It's gonna be tough to beat us. So yeah, I mean, Jizzle James is probably gonna be the go-to guy down the stretch, and hopefully we can get something from CMOS because I think there's still something there. He just got to figure it out.
If we've learned anything about this team, it's don't count anyone or anything out too quickly. The one issue that we've had with Wes, I mean, we've had many issues, but the big glaring one is the big game, right? Took care of Xavier this year, has won some other ones that we called big at the time that maybe weren't as huge. He's won 3 in a row over teams that we were probably supposed to beat. Iowa State on the road, and they'll have a chance at Houston as well as 2 of those like monumental. All right, Wes Miller's got something going here. He is quad 1 Wes. John, before we send you off, does this team have any shot against Iowa State?
I don't know. And I think the last time I left a comment on the last podcast you guys did about, I don't think we're back. We got 3 in a row, but I don't think we're really back until we get one of these traditional Big 12 teams that are, institutionalized in the conference. And, Iowa State, I think they're top 10, right? It's going to be tough, but if we get it, we're sweating again, Chuck. We're back on the bubble.
Was I playing that March music the entire time? Was that?
No, you did it for you did it for too long. I'll say that, but you didn't do it the whole time. So we're good.
I muted it just in time. I was afraid when I looked down there and saw the button clicked. I was like, did I just have the March music going in a loop for 5 straight minutes? John White, thanks for joining the program. You can call in with the link in the chat. That is how you join the show. Pop in, give your thoughts. We're going to be here for a few more. Let's get some final thoughts from you fellas. Bandago, big buckets. Josh Reed, Betsy had some deep ones. Did feel like a game that we should have been up more for most of it. But again, this is now 3 straight games where every time the C's got a little bit rocky. Don't tell me how rocky the sea is. Just bring the ship in. That's what the Bearcats have done. Brought the thing back to the harbor. It's what we love to see. Houdini, final thoughts as we have Iowa State coming up on Saturday. The Cyclones, and we will run through the old Big 12 right now. What we had on a Tuesday night, Iowa State was in action. They went on the road. They beat UCF 77-65. BYU went on the road and beat West Virginia. And then Arizona and Kansas State are tied at 48 when this podcast is being recorded. Kansas is probably going to beat Colorado. Although I'm a mushhead, so I probably just jinxed them and expect Colorado to win in the morning unless I reverse mushed it. So Hudson, thoughts on the schedule coming up for Cincinnati and some thoughts from this game today?
I mean, as far as the schedule is concerned, Iowa State is not invincible by any means. I mean, we saw Kansas State go into Iowa State, win by 20. I know how do you pronounce it? Momtilovich, the big white dude. He is back now. He's 6'8". He can shoot threes. I think he went 1 of 7 tonight against UCF. So he's probably not fully back. They're going to be a very, very tough win on the road, but this team is beatable. I mean, they've lost to teams that are, lesser talents than UC is going to bring in there, especially how hot we've been. But you got to make damn layups. The amount of layups we missed in the first half was just insane. Like, it was just, Aziz had his best post-up move and a little up and under, wide open, bricks the layup. Like, it's just not going to work when you're playing elite teams. Either way, I'm taking 3 W's in a row, no matter what, especially with what we've seen this team do. And Utah's they're not terrible. You got to at least put the ball in the hoop, which we did. But it's going to get harder. It's certainly going to get a lot harder. But I do think BYU, we just saw them beat West Virginia. The one thing to keep in mind is that West Virginia might actually jump down to a quad 2, which sucks for us because we need all the quad 1s we can get. We only got 1 right now. And UCF, hell, they might jump out of a quad 1 as well. So we kind of got to schedule watch a little bit. But I like our chances with this offense clicking like this. You got to play better defense. You got to make layups.
Iowa State has some dudes, man. Specifically Gilbert, Lipsy, Jefferson. I mean, they got some guys that can score the basketball. They're scoring like 80 points a game this season. So that'll be interesting. Oh, my God. Oh, we had Vic Locken backstage. Pop on in, Big Vic. He is crushing it right now at Clemson. 20 points in the first half in the game the other day. He said it. Clemson's a blue blood. And he popped in backstage for 2 seconds and disappeared. But shout out to him, man. He's been lighting it up. Unless it's just someone that I swear to God, backstage, Vic Locken.
Victor Locken, Chuck. I promise you, Victor Locken didn't.
The guy's name was Victor with a K, and it looked just like Victor Locken. I watched him play like 100 games for UC. I know what his face looks like, Houdini. He still checks in on the Cats. He's a man of the people. Okay. He's a Vic, 4-year guy at Cincy. I think he was 4. Played 3. Who's going to break the ice here?
Are we leaving this up to Victor to jump in?
I would like Victor to jump in. I don't care.
Hey, nah, he popped backstage. You're just gonna have to believe me there. Final thoughts from you, Chase.
I think we're in a spot where Saturday is going to have a ton of weight to it. Like, if we go out there and we compete and we give it a pretty good game against Iowa State, I'll feel fine going forward. But I feel like that magic number for us wins wise is around, I'd say, 21. Does that sound, like 20, 21 wins, I would say. I don't know. I think for us, it's going to have to be, we have to play great defense, but at the same time, keep the mojo going, keep the good vibes going, keep the offensive firepower going, ball movement, attacking the rim, kick out for 3, driving to the bucket. Jizzle James has to be our star. I agree with Houdini 100%. And I do want to give flowers to Josh Reed real quick, all right? I'm a devout Christian, all right? I will put that out there. Josh Reed is as well, all right? And I won't say what church, but I've seen Josh Reed at church before. So I'm going to tell you this, man. The prayers and everything else, it's coming together right now. The Lord is blessing Josh Reed, and he's blessing the Bearcats right now. And just keep going. I want Josh Reed on it. Oh, my God, it's Victor Lockett.
I told you guys. I wasn't lying. That was Big Vic backstage. What's up, man? Congrats.
What's up, guys?
No way.
You guys are back. I've been following your podcast all the time.
Hell yes, brother. It is good to see you dominated right now in Clemson. We would love to have you right now, lighting it up over at Clemson, man. I'm stunned. I didn't expect you to be backstage. I said to these guys, I swear to God, I know what Big Vic looks like. We've been watching him play for years, and here he is.
I thought it would be fun. So,
for sure. Give me before you pop out of here. Give me some good words on Wes Miller, man. You've heard us. We've been hard on him. We're hard on people. We yell because we care. You see it under my name. We love the Cats and anyone associated with the Cats. Give me some good words about how Wes was able to coach you up.
I mean, he's a good coach. I have a great relationship with him. He cares about every single player he has, and I think actually the program is in good hands long term. So I think, as you guys said, Cincinnati needs to get a couple of big ones, and it's officially back from there. So
I love that, man. Vic is still watching the old squad. I actually
tweeted every
tweeted out.
Game I can, yeah.
I tweeted out yesterday after you just went nuclear at UNC, and I was like, God, wouldn't it really be great for UC to have an interior big like this that could score and hit jump shots? And somebody actually replied to me and said, a guy like Victor Lockett would never go to UC. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. So, dude, appreciate you following the program, and we're always rooting for you, man. You've been lighting it up.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. All right.
Hey, Vic, I got to say it, man. Obviously, last season there were some tough moments. We all know that you went through it with the sickness. You came back. The role was diminished a little bit. It didn't end in the greatest sense. But just know this, man. Every single UC fan out there is rooting for you. I hope Elite Eight, man. 5 seed.
They do. They text me and all the nice words. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, man. We yell because we care. Just remember that. Thanks for popping on the show today and crush it the rest of the season, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good luck, Vic.
Good luck to you guys. Yeah.
Clemson. Thanks, man.
All right, good stuff from Vic. I told you guys, man. He
That's
was backstage.
Wild. That's crazy.
I stand corrected. I'm like, there's no way Victor Lockett just hopped in that shows up 2 seconds later. Wow. Shout out to Victor Lockett. What a legend.
Out, man. Blue blood killer.
He's a chatterhead, man. Enjoys the show. And for every negative word we've ever said about any Bearcats player, I'm going to say it again, because you realize when you see the players pop in like that this is on the internet and they tune in from time to time. We yell because we're passionate, fellas. We want the best for you all. And Victor Lockett right now in the Clemson Orange, literally like leading off SportsCenter with his play. Pretty awesome to see. Brandon brought him in, stuck around for a program that was pretty much disseminated when Brandon left, gave it his all. And it just, at the end of the day, sometimes you leave for greener grass, and oftentimes the grass is not greener. For Vic Lockett, it has been very green. So we love to see it. Any reactions to Vic popping on before we call it a night and call it another victory?
That just made my night. That was crazy.
I love it, man. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you got to watch what you're saying. I don't think we ever said anything negative about Victor Lockett, at least not enough, because he was like, I'm a fan of the show. And Vic was he was one of those guys that, like, even when things kind of turned sour and some fans were kind of giving him shit, it was like he was one of the guys that stuck with this program through and through. You know what I mean? Through the ups and the downs with the coach changes, everything. He was one of the glue guys, and now we're seeing him just dominate. I know some people, like, they don't want to see a guy leave and then do great, but I think I can speak for everyone probably in this chat that you love seeing Victor Lockett doing what he's doing, going up against Cooper Flagg and putting up numbers, man. That's pretty cool. So, credit to him for hopping on, and hopefully we both, Clemson and UC, can get to the tournament. Maybe they could face off. That would be something, huh?
Be great stuff, man. Would be great stuff. Chatterbox Bearcats. You can find it on YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcasts. We've now had on Trey Scott. We've had on Ice Cube. We've had on Troy Copain. We've had on, the list goes on and on, Houdini. Octavius Ellis was on the show, Keith Williams, and Victor Locken, the former Cat that's now dominated on Clemson, shared his thoughts on Wes Miller, and he got to pop in. And on the way out, Natty Ron pops in. Natty Ron, we're about 40 minutes in, so we're calling it a night, but you're going to pop on as well next show. The invite is always available. We'll put that link in the chat, but for now, we will call it a night. Final score, Cincinnati 85, putting points up on the board, 75 for the opposition, the Utah Utes. Another happy crowd walking out of Fifth Third Arena. Stay safe in the snow, everyone. Let's go, Cats.